On the track, on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track. For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it keys on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track. No, we not making it. For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
It's a UFO for real. No, we not making this shit up. Look at her, she gonna put it's a UFO for real, y'all. That is crazy. Y'all, that's crazy. It's a UFO for real, y'all. I promise y'all. Look, we got all these street lights. There ain't no damn street light. My uncle talking about that street light. No. That ain't no street light, bro. That's a UFO. This a fucking street light right here. This the fucking street light. That ain't no fucking street light. That's the street light. I mean, that's the light beaming down on me.
Peace, 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 love, and light. It's your brother Aboriginal Power, and you're tapped into another Aboriginal Power Reacts, man. Y'all know we got to get into the heat of things, man. Where are we at with things today? Man, y'all know how we rocking. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Make sure y'all come up and thumb up the video, support the channel. Y'all see how we coming, brodies. So, yeah, man, y'all see what's going on. Alien invasion. Of some sort. You feel what I'm saying? I believe that is crucial to what we got going on. I don't think people understand how crucial it really is. So we're going to keep playing some more of these clips. For those that didn't get to see what's going on, hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel. All right? Some of the biggest things y'all can do. Let's get right back into this heat. Let's go. For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it. Talking about that street light. No. That ain't no street light, bro. That's a UFO. This a fucking street light right here. This the fucking street light. So for those that don't know, Harvard scientists, Russian and German scientists, along with NASA, has came out this year for the second time stating that there is some type of extraterrestrial transmedium being or interdimensional being headed towards Earth. We're going to get into some of the actual debriefing documentation from NASA and some of the scientists from Harvard University. But this is not the first time that we have heard alien mothership headed towards Earth. As a matter of fact, in the year 2022, in the year 2023, 2 years ago, the government released debriefing documentation, and it was actually public news. Let me run that clip. Let's go.
The Pentagon's expert warning about a possible mothership coming close to Earth. It may sound straight out of a movie, but the Pentagon and a Harvard scientist have collaborated on a new draft report questioning if we're alone in the universe and whether we've already seen evidence of life beyond Earth.
because it has anomalies. It moves on a trajectory that is very unusual. It is aligned with the orbit of the Earth around the Sun, and it will get extremely close to the inner planets, like, for example, Jupiter, Mars, or Venus. It will arrive closest to the Sun when the Earth is on the opposite side, so we won't be able to look at it. And that's the point where a spacecraft would make a maneuver to slow down. It's coming from the direction of the Milky Way galaxy, the center of the Milky Way galaxy, where the sky is very crowded with stars. So that's why it took a while to notice it. And altogether, the chance of this trajectory is less than 0.2% to be aligned with the orbit of the Earth around the Sun, less than 1 part in 20,000 to arrive so close to the other planets. And one wonders, could it be a design trajectory? And I'm not saying that we know, but I'm saying that we need to collect more data to figure out the nature of this object. And if it turns out to be a comet, if it's surrounded by a beautiful cometary tail that is glowing in the sunlight as it gets closer to the Sun, so be it. But from now on, the Rubin Observatory in Chile will discover a new interstellar object every few months. And my point is, we should check whether any of these objects might be technological in origin, because it's a security risk to Earth.
Right. How do you check that? So it's interesting you mentioned about the trail that might indicate it's a comet. What would be the signs that it's not a comet?
Well, so I suggest first establishing a scale of risk from interstellar objects, similar to the Richter scale for the risk from earthquakes. A 0 would mean that we identify a beautiful tail and it looks just like a regular comet. We can infer the composition of the tail, it's similar to comets. A 10 would mean that the object maneuvers in ways that cannot be explained by the force of gravity, that there must be an engine in it, or it has an unusual shape, or it has artificial lights. And there should be an organization that decides whether an incoming object could be a risk, because we talk a lot about existential risks from artificial intelligence, from climate change, from an asteroid that may impact the Earth, but we don't talk at all about the possibility of aliens.
Okay, but if there are craft, there are beings.
Okay, people have asked me about, I call them vehicles, okay?
Right.
Now, I did not call them objects. That was too neuter for me.
Okay.
I had a Stanford professor said, you ought to call them objects. No. They have all the qualities of a vehicle. They can move. They're just like a missile or anything like that. So that much we can say about them, for sure.
Okay.
So I'm calling it a vehicle.
Okay.
Okay, somebody comes along and says, well, now where would you manufacture one that's 2.5 Earth lengths long? And that's a hard question to answer.
So are you not positing the idea that those vehicles contain, beings who are, maybe like us?
Yeah, I only go along with government images. And if you want to know about people kind of thing, there is the ship that picked up the Voyager capsule at Alameda Naval Shipyard, and they have a picture there of I think it's the Apollo flight that Buzz and Neil were on. But anyway, there's one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off.
Not dark, black.
Black skin.
Really black. Yeah.
Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall?
Yeah.
How tall? Do you know?
Well, they got out the doorway. I don't know how high that is, but
Well, what?
they say 7 feet would be probably a conservative estimate.
Have you heard about Clark McClellan's statement about that?
No.
Oh, you haven't?
No.
Have you ever been in touch with him?
No.
No?
There is one image there that shows black people getting off.
So people with dark skin getting off.
Not dark, black.
Black skin.
Really black. Yeah.
Were they tall?
Yes.
Very tall?
Yeah.
How tall? Do you know?
Yeah, it's recording. Fuck. Hey guys, I feel an obligation to our country, to the world, to share this information with you. Right now, I'm in hiding at an Airbnb, so that I at least had enough time to get this out to you guys. Last Friday, let me back up. I have worked at the Pentagon for the last 7 years in data analysis. And last Friday, as I was leaving work like I normally do, I got an email that I wasn't supposed to get. There is another senior officer here at the Pentagon with the same first and last name, but with a different middle initial. And it got sent to the DOD email to me instead of him. And according to policy, I wasn't even supposed to open it, but I did. And I have to share this information with everybody before it's too late. I'll just put on the screen. All right, so I will leave it up on the screen for a few moments so you guys can read it. Obviously, the part that stands out is indicating that some form of contact with sentience has been made, and that the estimated current approach date of 29 October. Obviously, I will lose my job once this gets out. And honestly, I will remain in hiding for as long as possible just for my own safety. But I didn't feel right knowing this information and knowing the implications for all of us and not sharing this with everyone. So do with it what you will, and Godspeed.
So as you seen right here, this was a few little clips that I had ran across from the internet talking about this whole mothership situation. And within me looking into the internet like I do most commonly when I don't have nothing else to do, I ran across Black Twitter. And Black Twitter, in other words, is our Aboriginal foundational Black American brothers pretty much reacting to the whole alleged alien spacecraft that is coming here with the mothership. Now, I've heard this mothership conversation going back as far back to the 20s, the 30s, and the 40s with Elijah Muhammad. He also stated that there is a mothership coming, didn't really specify on the date. So this is not an uncommon conversation. We just heard that the NASA scientist by the name of what is his name? Krugen. I forget his name. He did the interview with the lady from Project Camelot. He spoke. He was an ex-worker at NASA. Monitored the visitors, the people that allegedly went to the moon, and he claimed that there were Black people on these spaceships that got off on to the moon, and told the United States and the government that they don't need to come there. If they do, it will be problems. By the way, these are tall Black men. black people, and you wouldn't even believe what style of spacecraft they was allegedly in. Can you guys take a wild guess in the chat? Was it a bell shape? Was it a saucer shape? Was it spear? Was it cube? You let me know what shape the niggas got off of, what style of spacecraft. But yeah, so allegedly these big tall black people are allegedly black Americans. This is what people are alluding to, and they got off of a cigar style spaceship. Now you know what a cigar is. This is what I'm smoking on right now. What's the odds of a nigga getting off of a cigar backwoods style motherfucking spaceship? Like a backwoods style spaceship literally takes the cake for me. But we got more to get into. I want to get into some reactions from some of our family from around the world. Let's shout out to the Black Americans, Aboriginal Americans, FBA Americans responding to this whole alien mothership coming to Earth. So we're going to get right into it. If y'all ready to rock it out, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel.
Just share my videos, leave commentaries, and also educate each and every one of us. Hey guys, at the real MVP.
So lovely. I came across this video for you and I thought to share where the alien who was supposed to come November is actually coming in 2 weeks. Please. When I saw this teach, I was like, these guys, are they really joking with people? And the thing is that I was able to put up some stitches. I'm just going to roll the clip as well as some of other stitches I was able to put together. Please leave me your own thought in the comment section of what you think of this video. And please do not forget that we do not support any form of bullying and harassment. We are just here for educational and informative purposes. So not that these aliens are coming in 2 weeks' time, and they say that this part of aliens are the aggressive and they all look African Americans. All right, lovelies, let's dive into it while we keep waiting for the arrival of these aliens that is aggressive.
Let me make sure I got this clear. So the same aliens that were supposed to come in November took a detour. Now they coming in 2 weeks. And now we've come to realize that they are 7 feet tall and that they look like African Americans. Bitch, what? What? Who are y'all communicating with? Like the information that you're dropping is knowledge that you would only have if you were communicating with the aliens. So you telling me that these motherfuckers made a planned visit for November, now they'd say, oh, no, we coming in 2 weeks. What the fuck? And all of a sudden now you know that they look like African Americans? How? How would you know this information? The way these motherfuckers play in our face is crazy. The way they play on the intelligence of the American people is insanity. Because what? Then you said they're potentially hostile. How the fuck would you know that? Like, man, let's wrap 2025 up. I'm done with this whole fucking year.
Yeah, I can't take this no more, man. So NASA decided that they want to bring out a message saying that these aliens that's supposed to be coming in 2 weeks, saying that they're going to be 7 foot tall and look like African American. Hey, get the fuck out of here. So say they might be hostile. Like these black people on this earth here in the hostile already. In 2 weeks, that these so-called people coming down here, aliens, however you want to describe it, are going to be hostile. Okay, no. Right? How the fuck, NASA? You tell me, how the fuck you know that these people are going to be hostile, and how the fuck you know that these people are African fucking American? Please tell me. And you going over there fucking with these people here, man. See, y'all need to stop fucking with them damn people out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Because for some reason, somebody communicating with these motherfuckers here. How the fuck you know? There's no way you can look through your pussy-ass telescope and tell me, hey, yeah, da-da-da-da. It's some reason or somehow that you communicating with these people here. You know what I'm saying? Like, make it make sense. Y'all already sending shit up out in the sky already. Y'all shooting rockets. You know what I'm saying? Y'all like little kids and little sandlot. Y'all do the fuck y'all want to do. Y'all don't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? Y'all don't say shit. I know you going up there. I know y'all people up there fucking with the people. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? They on the outside looking in. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying a nigga don't believe in that type of shit, but I be looking up in the sky. I ain't gonna lie. I be seeing some fuck ass shit flying though, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I can't even comprehend what the fuck that is. You know what I'm saying? Shit.
A 7-mile spacecraft is headed towards Earth. Yeah, you heard me. Headed here. And according to NASA scientists, they're hostile. How do y'all know they're hostile? What y'all do? What you do? Not only that, Whistleblower says that there's been an alien species that visit Earth that were African-American. And
now listen, I want y'all to pay attention to this. This is the most crucialist part. I need everybody to hit that like button, thumb up the video, and I got the call-in number on the screen. The call-in number is on the screen. If you guys want to come give a testimony, come challenge it, whatever you want to say, hit that call-in number, call in now. The lines is open. The phone lines is open.
You heard me. Headed here. And according to NASA scientists, they're hostile. How do y'all know they're hostile? What y'all do? What you do? Not only that, Whistleblower says that there's been an alien species that visit Earth that were African-American and 7 foot. So let me get this right. 7 foot African-American spaceship, 7 miles wide, headed towards Earth and hostile. I wonder why. But am I the only one to notice the pattern of 7s? 7 representing pure spirit and a great explorer. Interesting. Because they exploring, they on their way here. Could this possibly be the Anunnaki that's been rumored to come to Earth? All this just got me thinking. So it made me look up some pictures that were depicted to be the Anunnaki. Notice how a lot of them are green. See this Egyptian god? His name's Osiris. His skin tone is green as well. Here's a random fact. Most of us quote-unquote African-Americans are born with Mongolian marks. You see the green coloring? Could we possibly be given something at birth to stop our powers? Our transformation? Stay focused, Trippy. Oddly, Osiris was cut up into 14 pieces, and they were only able to find 13. There goes that number 13 again. And I noticed a whole bunch of numerology throughout this whole thing. Do you think that we're about to have visitors and they're possibly African-American that are hostile for, I don't know. Oh, in this video, it was just for entertainment purposes. So make sure to like and comment and let me know what you think.
Yeah, it's recording. Fuck. Hey guys, I feel an obligation to our country, to the world, to share this information with you. Right now, I'm in hiding at an Airbnb. So that I at least had enough time to get this out to you guys. Last Friday, let me back up. I have worked at the Pentagon for the last 7 years in data analysis. And last Friday, as I was leaving work like I normally do, I got an email that I wasn't supposed to get. There is another senior officer here at the Pentagon with the same first and last name, but with a different middle initial. And it got sent to the DOD email to me instead of him. And according to policy, I wasn't even supposed to open it, but I did. And I have to share this information with everybody before it's too late. I'll just put on the screen. All right, so I will leave it up on the screen for a few moments so you guys can read it. Obviously, the part that stands out is indicating that some form of contact with sentience has been made, and that the estimated.
Let's pause this and read this on the screen a little bit. Let's see if we can read a little bit of this. I want y'all to hit that like button too as you come into the building. I know y'all just coming right in, looking at this fire information that we're putting on the screen, but do not forget to hit that like button, family, as you come into the building. It doesn't cost anything. It's free 99. You understand me? All you got to do is push that button. You feel what I'm saying? Don't forget to hit that notification bell. You ring that notification bell, I'm gonna bring you some mail. You understand what I'm saying? So this is interstellar object high interest assessment. They got it labeled as Comet C-2025 N1 or Atlas 3 or 3 Atlas is what they're calling this particular object. They're talking about the deceleration and acceleration of it that has been monitored for the last 3 years, according to the Pentagon debriefing. So now I do want you guys to, like I said, smack that like button, family. Only if you're rocking with the channel. Thumb up the video, support the channel, and let's
estimated
go.
Current approach date of 29 October. Obviously, I will lose my job once this gets out. And honestly, I will remain in hiding for as long as possible, just for my own safety. but I didn't feel right knowing this information and knowing the implications for all of us and not sharing this with everyone. So do with it what you will, and Godspeed.
Okay, let's talk about this whole alien UFO situation.
And by the way, I'm going to break this thing down from at least unbiased standpoint. So we're going to listen to all these alternative perspectives, and then I'm going to give the devil's advocate or the skeptical perspective or things that's going on from other prior research. This is not going to be the last I revisit the CIA, NASA, alien mothership, possibly black aliens that once visit our government on the moon. Now, we're on record, according to scientists that work for shadow governments like Blackwater, Los Alamos, Lockheed Martin, things of that nature. They state that there are on record 69 different style species of extraterrestrial and sometimes interdimensional beings. There's a difference between interdimensional and extraterrestrial, which is why they changed the name from UFOs to UAPs, because it doesn't really quite explain what these things are capable of, their capabilities, their technology. The term UFO, obviously, unidentified flying object. You got to have thrust. You got to have lift, and you got to, these are some of the basics that deal with flight. And some of these craft that we're seeing obviously don't have wings. Obviously, they don't have thrust. Obviously, they don't have lift. So we're going to get into a deeper aspect of this in just a second. Hit that like button, thumb up the video. And if you're new to the channel, y'all going to want to subscribe, man. It's your brother, Aboriginal Power, the hood journalist. Let's go.
And Godspeed.
Okay, let's talk about this whole alien UFO situation we've been hearing about. I'm talking about the object in the sky known as 3I Atlas, but it really all goes back to this guy. I don't know if you remember him, but he knows a lot about UFOs, aka UAPs. Back in 2023, he went to go investigate a fireball that fell into the ocean off the coast of Papua New Guinea. That is because he believed that that fireball was actually a UFO craft, or at least parts of it, you know? So he went to go look for pieces of this object that might possibly still be at the bottom of the ocean. And he found those objects. Yes, he did. He found the pieces of what he claims to be a UAP or a UFO. Yep, there he is holding it. Not a fear in the world. And I'm sure a lot of research is being done on those little pieces that he found. But now we have a bigger problem. And Avi Loeb is very excited about it. And when I say bigger, this object is 7 miles wide. And Avi Loeb thinks it is a UAP, an object directly coming into our solar system. And perhaps that it even might be hostile or just checking out the environment, you know? And other scientists are saying, no, it looks like a regular comet. But like from what I understand, that's not really true, to be honest. So scientists were saying because this object was giving off gases when it was approaching close to the sun, that it had a comma-like shape, that it's just a regular old comet. But Avi Loeb says, no, that is not true. And now other people are starting to agree. They are saying that the gases this object is giving off might be intentional, as in the ship just needs to release certain things to keep going so fast, like 137,000 miles per hour fast. So yeah, like when a car gives off exhaust, 3I Atlas might be doing something similar. I think what Avi Loeb is trying to say is that the path that this object is taking seems very intentional.
And from the looks of things, this particular object that we're looking at, family, is possibly actual extraterrestrial. You see what I'm saying? Shout out to everybody in the building. We'll be right back in just a second. Hold on. Hit that like button, thumb up the All righty then, let's lock back in. Make sure y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video. Make sure that y'all are supporting the channel. Cash App information is pinned at the top of the live stream. This channel is not monetized, so all donations and support is appreciated. Most certainly. Shout out to the family that's in here listening. We got a little bit over 200 people in here listening. We got a few people listening to us right now on Twitter as well. Make sure y'all give us a quick retweet and let's
intentional. Avi Loeb actually says that there are clear signs that this can be an alien craft. He says that this object seems to be intelligently directed. It will be taking a path that's very close to Venus, Mars, and Jupiter, like intentionally close. And the object will be passing the closest to the sun on October 29th of this year, 2025. NASA says that this comet remains very far away from Earth and poses no threat to us. So, I mean, that's good, unless the aliens change their mind and want to take a closer look at Earth, which I'm sure Avi Loeb would be so happy about, like in this picture. And I'm going to end this video off with a quote from Avi Loeb himself. We see a lot of houses on the cosmic street that look just like ours, analogs of the Earth's sun system. And I think it's very arrogant of us to assume that they don't have residents. I actually love that quote. But what do you think of all this? What do you think 3i Atlas really is? And why is everybody saying that the aliens are arriving in November? Did I miss something? Let me know. I will see you guys in the comments down below. Okay, bye.
Please stop. Oh, yo, these motherfuckers then blame. Yo, they blame us for I am dying. They blame us for every fucking thing. These.
Hey, Zay, come get your homeboy, dude. He doing too much. Zay, come get your motherfucking homeboy, man.
The aliens were African American, y'all. We can't damn shit.
These niggas be way too dramatic.
Literally, they're saying the NASA is saying that they saw some aliens on a ship that was a mile long, and they said they was niggas.
He's too hot. His ass wanna go get probed by some alien. You wanna get probed in your behind, son.
So the aliens are black? I'm not talking about the color. Apparently, the aliens are African-American people, and this is not coming from me. This is coming from an ex-NASA employee. So this is Norman Bergrun, and in an interview, he was explaining that they were about 7 feet tall.
This nigga might be an alien himself. We gotta look into, what is he, a Palladian? Is he a Palladian or something? We gotta look into. He look a little sinister.
Then coming from an ex-NASA employee. So this is Norman Bergrun, and in an interview, he was explaining that they were about 7 feet tall. Then it cuts to like a voice call, and the person starts describing the spaceship. Do you want to know what they said the spaceship looked like? A fucking cigar. Then after it landed, 100 people got off of the ship, heavily armed, and surrounded the ship. Said the people that got off of these ships were a black. They looked like African Americans. They were about 6'4", 6'5". Green aliens. I have more of a time believing that they're like green or something, but African American people, that shit is wild. Like, I'm not saying it couldn't be possible, but the way you described it, and then you say they were in cigar-shaped vehicles or spaceships, absolutely fucking not, guy. So if you haven't seen the video, go look it up. If you have seen the video, what is your thoughts on this? I mean, Lil Wayne does say he's an alien all the damn time, so maybe it's true.
God is not going to allow people to stay here and see mermaids come out of the sea, to allow aliens to come down. They're telling us that aliens are coming in November. Americans, are you paying attention to the government playing in our face, telling you that they've spotted a spaceship off in the distant wherever, and that, oh, from their calculations, right? Their Rice Krispie calculations, it looks like they will be here in November. Well, before they came to lie to you, someone named Celestial told you of the Lord back in 2021. After having written those prophecies, dating all the way back from when I was a child, I was seeing the coming of these ships. I was seeing them when I was a young one, under age of 10. Terrifying dreams that used to freeze me. And I would try to stay awake as long as I could, because as soon as I fall asleep, I would get back to the dream. I jump up. I'm afraid. I don't want to sleep. I'm clutching my sister. She's sleeping. As soon as I fall back to sleep, I'm in the same dream. The dream carries on like a movie. Over and over and over, the dream was coming. God was talking to me back then about the fact that we would be visited by these things. I shared all these things with you. This is more than 5 years ago, telling you that because these creatures are the ones.
Hey, do y'all remember back in 2022, I gave y'all a prediction that in the year 2024, the United States government will release a public conference that aliens are real? If y'all don't remember, I'm going to leave the link of my video where I talked about that in the description box. Go check it out. I also go into detail how the government was planning a 2025 alien invasion that's not going to be from aliens. It's going to be from interdimensional reverse engineered technology. So it's not going to be anything that even to our understanding of physics, but it's government regulated, government ran. This has been a plan since 1954 during the Roswell crashing that they have been planning to do this fake alien attack to create a one world government to keep our people contained. And I believe this could be a mission. I've stated this years ago. Now, I'm not saying that there are not real beings or interdimensional beings, extraterrestrial beings. I'm saying that the government is planning on faking this particular invasion. We're going to talk about this a little more after this audio.
One who absolutely control our reality. The day would come when they would face their biggest stooge, the United States government, and they would tell them, you got two options and we recommend you take option one. Option one is that you are going to disclose to these people that you know us. Step one is disclosure. Pressure is applied on you, and you, the US government, are told to come out and to prep the American people for the fact that what? The aliens want to come out. They want to come out because their plan is not to stay hidden. Their plan is not to stay as an X-File mystery. Their plan is not to stay as only movie characters that we get to wonder about and say, you know, I saw something on top of the barn when I was 11, but I never really was sure what it was. They're going to erase all doubts because their final plan is to take over this whole world and eat everybody dumb enough to like them, to follow them, and to say, hey, it's okay for you guys to live with us. We are going to make alien covenants. I prophesied that in 2022. It is called Satan as an angel of light, where I said they're going to come down as light beings and a public covenant is going to be struck. There is already a secret covenant between the US government and those beings. And I said that from what God showed me, it's lots and lots of decades old. They've been exchanging technology. I've already told you that America is not smart enough to have the planes, the guns, the ships, and everything else.
If you go to CIA document, it's called CIA Flush. It gives you a list of all the declassified CIA documents, and one of them was in the 1800s discovery and archaeological remains of some type of interdimensional or extraterrestrial being, and they're documenting it. They have photographs of it. They even have allegedly these things on ice at Area 54 Station M11. M11 is, I believe, in Washington, D.C., because we know Area 51, Area S4 is in Nevada, right outside of Papoose Lake, formerly known as the place that was disclosed to us in the world under the whistleblower. One of the most prominent world-known whistleblowers about UFOs and aliens is Bob Lazar, aka Robert Lazar. We're gonna get into his story later on, so don't trip.
It's them that always give it to us, this technology, this stuff that we have. However, the plan is that the government has choice one. It can disclose. That means come out, stop lying, admit to the people. I was telling you this in 2021, that they will come out, they will admit to the people, they're not going to address all the lies that they lied, like Roswell and stuff like that. Area 51 and stuff like that. I said they're not going to address all that. What they're going to do is they're going to come and start acting like this just in. We think we saw a green one. We think we saw one. We think we saw one. And I said they're going to pretend to be as shocked as we are, as stunned as we are, and they are quickly going to
on in her. Do y'all even understand? And it's almost seeming like she's like, she's not a prophet or nothing, but maybe she has some type of, intuitiveness and spiritual connection, because some of us have that, and sometimes we got to tap into it. You feel me? But maybe she's just thinking she's a prophet. She's set up like some type of witch or something.
Address all that. What they're going to do is they're going to come and start acting like this just in. We think we saw a green one. We think we saw one. We think we saw one. And I said they're going to pretend to be as shocked as we are, as stunned as we are, and they are quickly going to manipulate and put themselves in the position of protectors of us. They're going to say, we're with you, America, through the media. We're learning about this just as much as you're learning about this. We'll get through this together. That's the same hackneyed line that they use for COVID. We're in this together. Everything is together. It's a lie. They already know what they did. They're trying to fix it on the back end, because the aliens basically told them, if you don't disclose us, we're going to reveal us. And I guess America thought that they were joking, because we all remember 2024 and how things just began to zip across the sky. That was not America controlling that. That is why all those videos began to disappear from social media after they pretended that they were going to sell TikTok because it was too Chinese. The aliens were like, oh, okay, you thought that we were playing when we said bring us out. You thought that we were going to be your quiet, sneaky link forever. Bring us out, do a disclosure, or we will do a reveal. That is why all that haywire.
She just contradicted herself a little bit, because earlier in her statement, she believed that it was a fake invasion, that it's not real, that it's the government planning, which is the same thing I alluded to. But now she's saying that these are actual real aliens that told our government if they don't disclose who they are, they're going to be doing a revealing. So these are two conflating, diametrically opposed stories. Which one do you actually believe in, sister?
Stuff was going on in October, November, and December of 2024. All the ships, all the blips, we think they're in the sea. That is why NASA had that 2-week live conference. I've never seen anything like that in my life. All of a sudden, the American government that claims that it doesn't know anything about aliens, right, was sitting and reading, there's a tall one, there's a gray one, there's a tall gray one, then there's a tall short one, then there's one with almond eyes, and then there's the one with the googly eyes, and then there's the purple ones, and then there's the ones that really look like white people from the Netherlands with long white hair and blue eyes, and then there's this shape. Yes. So all of a sudden, from knowing nothing, they have 50 pages of documents stapled together where they can name everyone and their grandpa from all the different solar systems. And they thought that no one would be paying attention to that. I was paying attention to that. I was watching that. I was saying, okay. So they're choosing option 1 because there's a foot on their neck. Option 2 that God told me the aliens gave them was that if you do not disclose to these people who we are and then come up with a structured plan, don't only think that you will tell them. If you don't come up with a structured plan to bring us in public and introduce us into the society, which is what they want, we're going to come out by ourselves. So if you're listening to the weirdness of this government that always tells us it can't operate until it has a government shutdown, it can't manage itself until we feed it more money. If you think that people who claim that they can't work until you put coins in their mouth like a Vegas slot machine, are smart enough to tell you that they looked in the sky and they saw a ship coming. They're lying. We are hurtling into the time of the end. And I told you that the time of the end would go along with hunger, wars, stress, natural disasters, and filthy creatures to which many people will cling and say, our saviors. People wonder, well, are they mating with us? No, they do not. They see us slightly below pond slime, slightly below worms, below cockroaches, below frogs, a thing of interest. They don't regard us as worth anything. They would never sleep with us, and we are also their food. They simply take the reproductive material. They steal people. They steal people, and then they take the thing out of them and then seal the people up. And God says when the people wake up, they can feel they've been violated. He says people search their memory, and that time is gone. They make you forget. They hold up 3 fingers like this. I saw in that it was a vision. I was not asleep. I had a vision for over an hour. They hold up 3 fingers like this, and they made an entire town docile and lose the memory. The main alien was making a speech. He was speaking to the town. He was telling people, we will do this and we will do this. And the people were clapping in a frenzy. They were, yeah, they were agreeing, and they had no idea what they were agreeing to. It was as if a tape was running in their minds. And as the tape was running, as they were hearing what the alien said, their brains were being erased. Why? Because that one alien was speaking, and a single gray, not the short ones that you always see, the little men, there's nothing like that. There are some of them that are taller than the aisles in the supermarket. Have you seen the supermarket aisle dividers? Have you seen the shelves? There are grays that are taller than the shelves in the supermarkets. You know how Costco has that high roof? Their heads will go up to that roof. And what you will see above the supermarket shelves are their hands dangling down. How far does your hand dangle down your body? One of those tall grays was standing behind the main gray, and he held out a hand like this with 3 fingers. And as long as he held that hand up, he was emitting from his head something like a Wi-Fi signal. And it made the entire town blanked out. They were clapping for what they did not hear.
Like, seriously, lovely, these scientists people can be so, like, I don't even know how to describe them. So I stitched a video, I think it's about a week back, where there is this rumor all over the social platform that some scientist people that works of that is into this UFO everything is alerting people to tell them that aliens are going to visit the earth. The aliens are coming to earth, and they are going to arrive by November, like according to their prediction. They are going to arrive by November. These aliens are like African-Americans, you know. And now I was going through my For You. These same people is all out talking about how the aliens are not more waiting to come by November. They are already on their way to arrive in 2 weeks. But I made more research, and it actually stated that the type of alien that is coming in 2 weeks is different from that one that is coming by November. God. That means there are 2 different aliens that are coming. The one that is coming by November is actually different from the one that is coming in 2 weeks' time, if I'm not mistaken. And they also said that these aliens are aggressive. They're 7 feet tall, look African American. And now I'm confused. Is it that they're coming from like the African American? Is it that like the dark skin, right? Or are they just immigrant aliens? Because this whole thing is just so confusing, you know. And the thing is that most of the things that is being shown in the movie, like most of the things I have seen so many alien movies. Sometimes I think the government is just trying to tell its individuals something through movie, through stories and all of that. You know. Now I'm beginning to like reason with some of the things that we see in the movie. And the end of the day, it's something that is happening in the physical. That means these aliens have always been there. These aliens have always been there. There is a stage that I saw. Somebody was saying that, how do you think that Pew Pew was made? How do you think that all of the technology that we have is made? Probably those technology, Pew Pews, and all of that is being gotten from these aliens. Maybe the aliens are the ones giving them this technology, and now the aliens want to make themselves known. They want to be represented. They want to be seen. They don't want to go into hiding anymore. Somebody was saying that in one of her live, yeah, she was like, maybe most of this new technology, this, that, robots, and all of that are just something that is being given by these aliens. And now that these aliens, they really want to show themselves. They don't want to go into hiding anymore. They want to be known. They want people to know that they are in existence. And now these guys are coming with stories upon stories. And another thing is that if these aliens are like 7 feet tall, they are African-American, probably they are dark-skinned, and they are aggressive, and all of the characteristics of these aliens, like, how did they know all of this? If they're not in contact with these aliens, how did they know? How are they able to figure all of those things out? If they're not in contact with it, if they're just making people, humans, to accept the aliens before its arrival. And someone was like, these aliens are already in our midst. Like they're already here. Like they're already in the planet Earth. You know? Because if it's people that looks like maybe dark skin colored aliens, 7 feet tall and what have you, I think it might be even possible that they're already here. And maybe they want to be accepted globally. Now they're making their entrance known. Like this whole thing, this whole alien thing, I'm even getting a little bit nervous and scared because
You getting a little bit nervous and scared because your ass is an African, and you know that it might be Black Americans on that motherfucker, and now you looking spooked. Now, all of a sudden you scared because all the hate and shit y'all been putting out on Black America. Y'all thinking that the ancestors coming back to come get y'all ass. You see what I'm saying? I guarantee that's exactly how these people are thinking. You feel what I'm saying? Let's get into one of the next clips we got lined up for y'all that I do want to get into that's pertaining to this whole alien situation as well. Y'all hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel. Y'all already know the vibe. This your brother Big Aboriginal Power, the whole time. And we about to get into some right now. So if y'all ready to rock, drop those fire emojis. Let's go.
For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
Well aware, not all mysteries are whodunits. Some of the biggest mysteries in the universe are all about other questions, like the question facing skywatchers tonight. What is it? On the 1st of July, NASA detected a mysterious object speeding toward Earth, and some actual bona fide experts think it might not be your typical space rock or maybe any kind of rock or a natural phenomenon at all. For one thing, 3I Atlas, as it's called, is interstellar, meaning it's from outside Earth's solar system. That is incredibly rare. In fact, it's only the third object from parts unknown to ever visit us. It's also moving very, very quickly, 135,000 miles an hour. Right now, it is near Jupiter, but it's expected to fly by Earth in late November, maybe early December, about 3.5 months from now, at which time my next guest thinks we might get the answer to an even bigger mystery, whether humans are alone in the universe. Avi Loeb is a theoretical physicist and professor at Harvard University. I'm thrilled to have him back on the program. Good to see you again. Okay, so for everybody who doesn't know, this is incredibly rare. It's a third known interstellar object ever detected. Why? Why is that so rare? I mean, why do we have so few of them?
Well, thanks for having me. They're difficult to spot. There aren't many that are passing through the solar system, but this one is quite unusual. It's relatively bright, meaning that it has, if it's a solid object, has a diameter of 20 kilometers. That's bigger than Manhattan Island. And there isn't enough material in rocks in interstellar space to give us such a giant rock once per decade. That's the duration of the survey of the sky. We expect once per 10,000 years, such a giant rock. And so the question is, what is it? Now, people argue that it must be a comet, but for a comet, you usually
Now hold on. I don't know why my internet tweaking. This shit keep kicking me out. I don't know what the hell is going on over here.
having me. They're difficult to spot. There aren't many that are passing through the solar system, but this one is quite unusual. It's relatively bright, meaning that it has, if it's a solid object, has a diameter of 20 kilometers. That's bigger than Manhattan Island. And there isn't enough material in rocks in interstellar space to give us such a giant rock once per decade. That's the duration of the survey of the sky. We expect once per 10,000 years, such a giant rock. And so the question is, what is it? Now, people argue that it must be a comet, but for a comet, you usually see a cometary tail trailing behind it. In this case, the deepest image that we had with the Hubble Space Telescope revealed that it has glow in front of it, not behind it. And then the trajectory of this object is extremely unusual, fine-tuned. It lies in the plane of the orbits of the planets around the sun to within 5 degrees. The chance for that happening at random is 1 in 500. And then it comes at a very special time when it passes close to Mars, Venus, and Jupiter. The chance of that happening for this object to pass so close to these as they move around the sun is 1 in 20,000. And when it gets closest to the sun, the Earth would be on the opposite side, so we can't observe it. That could be on purpose if it wants to do some maneuver, taking advantage of the sun's gravity or sending probes to the inner planets. So it looks quite unusual. It came from a direction where there are lots of stars in the sky. That's why we had a hard time identifying it. The question is it technological?
Well, it could be. Or is it possible it is a comet and the tail, you might not see it right now, but the closer it gets, you might see the tail. You might then say, oh, it is a comet. That's a possibility too?
It is a possibility, but we don't see any trace of gas around it, no fingerprints of molecules or atoms. So the question is, does it really look like a comet? And of course, as it gets closer to the sun, it will warm up, and we should be able to see clearer signatures if it is a comet. I have a scale that I invented for the purpose of this object, where 0 would be a natural object and 10 would be a definitely technological object. I give it a 4 right now. Okay. And within the coming months, we might realize that it's actually a 0 if it looks like it's a natural object, or a 10. If it's a 10, then the question is, what do we do about it? And it comes closest to the sun on the 29th of October. It may well be that if we realize it's technological, the stock market will crash because there will be a huge uncertainty.
What do we do? Okay, that's the question. First of all, A, what do you do to find out what it is? And B, if it is what you think, what do we do?
Right. So the response has to depend on its properties and its intent. What is it doing as it comes closer to us? And it's just like having a visitor in your backyard. You can't decide about the policy for all visitors. It really depends on the intent of the visitor, and it's just next door. So it's not like getting a radio signal from a star that is thousands of light years away. where we would have plenty of time to decide how to respond. And I believe that we need an international organization that will make policy decisions about such an object. We are worried about existential threats from artificial intelligence, from global climate change, from an asteroid impact, but we never discuss alien technology.
No, I mean this is now taken into a different level. I don't really know what to say other than perhaps. I mean, we've spoken before. You've sold me on the fact we need to study this, and using what we have up there to potentially study this before it actually arrives or as it arrives. You make a compelling case, sir. I don't know what more to make of it than that, but we'll keep a careful eye on it, Mr. Loeb.
Exactly, and every few months now in the future, the Rubin telescope will find a new interstellar object. I think we should do the same for all.
Okay, you sold me. We'll see if everybody else agrees. Avi Loeb, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download.
So listen, as you see right here, that they think that it is a 40% chance that this is extraterrestrial advanced technology. And this is coming from a theoretical physics. So we're going to get into some more of this information, man. It's a lot more to get into. I do need y'all to hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel. We're going to get into this next little clip. I want y'all to pay attention to because I think this is crucial. And shout out to News Now. I rock with News Now. But we're going to go into my boy Vetted, which is the fire ass channel. And we're going to get into some of the heat right here. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Thumb up the video, support the channel. Let's go, y'all. All right, so if y'all ready to go, all I need y'all to do is drop those fire emojis. Who all in the building with us, man? Black aliens coming on a mothership shaped like a backwood. Was supposed to get here in September. They said, nigga, they're going to be a little late. They're going to be here in November. That sounds like some niggas to me. I mean, it sounds like some niggas to me, man. I don't even know how to explain a bunch of big, tall black niggas getting off a backwood-shaped spacecraft. Let's go, though.
Atlas was originally ordered
for the end of the year.
Have you heard about the giant object hurtling through space, heading toward Earth as we speak? The comet named C.I.A. Atlas was originally thought to be a comet, but one Harvard professor says it's not. According to Professor Avi Loeb, who's going to join us tomorrow night, the Manhattan-sized object has a 0.005% chance of being a natural object in space, and he believes it could be an alien spacecraft, saying that, quote, the object's orbit would make it easier for an intelligent craft to approach Earth without being noticed. It gets close to the sun in late November. Then the object is hidden from Earth's view, allowing it to carry out a secret high-speed maneuver to slow down and prepare for an attack. Now I've got your attention, I hope. But what's even more mysterious, the object began its 80-year journey through the Milky Way galaxy just as humanity began widespread radio broadcasting into space. And with no international protocol for possible alien contact, I'll just say that certain scientists are at least a little bit concerned. But we have the perfect guest on to explain what's going on. Joining us now for more, the founder of the Disclosure Project, Dr. Stephen Greer. Dr. Greer, great to have you back on. So just a couple of highlights. This object discovered with a small telescope, like a hobbyist can have this telescope.
Is my alien OG right here. This is my big alien information OG. Y'all want to know who I get a lot of my alien information from? Brother Greer. He's from the Carolinas. He's from the city. I know some of his people's down this way too. But hey, he be having that heat though, but you know, take it for whatever you want to take it for. I'm not here to persuade anybody. We just here to get the information out.
It was found from Chile. It's somehow more illuminated than typical comets. Its trajectory is unusual. It's on the plane of the Earth's orbit around the sun, and it's accelerating right now. What do you think this thing is?
Well, it's less likely to be a manufactured alien object than a stray type of large rock asteroid. Now, whether it poses a threat to the Earth is another question. We do know from a Delta Force operative named Jake Barber and his team that years ago there was a an asteroid that could have hit the Earth that was intercepted and didn't hit us because of the extraterrestrial vehicle moved it away from the Earth. So, interestingly, Werner von Braun in 1974 predicted that the psychological warfare operations trying to stir up sort of a global cabal of totalitarian power around the fear of aliens would say that initially, before they would hoax an alien event, they would create asteroid threats and create a panic over that. So I tend to be skeptical about the kind of fear and hype around this sort of thing. We should get better eyes on it, obviously. I agree with putting out some sort of a spacecraft that could look at it more closely. But, a comet is a very different thing than a large asteroid type rock that could have been stray and moving in. So, again, I think we have to get better intelligence on it.
Okay, so you do not think this is an alien spacecraft?
I think it's unlikely. And actually, Dr. Loeb has kind of said that was sort of a hypothesis as sort of an academic exercise, but that he didn't actually think it was an alien spacecraft either.
Well, I'm going to ask him all about it tomorrow. And some people at home are like, well, why does Finnerty do this? Why is he interested in this sort of thing? Look, because eventually it's going to be the one, Dr. Greer. You know that.
Yep.
Now, there's still more to this interview, and we'll get to it. I sort of cut it in half here. What's interesting about the Newsmax reporter here is he's really trying to get Dr. Stephen Greer to say this is an alien spaceship, right? That's coming, right? So just so interesting. And I think that's what this guy thought would happen.
I'm saying though, y'all, I see a lot of mixed opinion in the chat. Y'all can call in too. The call-in numbers is on the screen. Somebody said space niggas. Space niggas trajecting on them hoes. Pause. Man, listen, it is, listen, I'm going to tell you how the aliens going to come. As soon as they touch down, they're going to act like they from either New York or from Atlanta. You see what I'm saying? They're going to adapt to one of those type of cultures. You feel me? As a matter of fact, let me show y'all right quick. Let me show y'all.
This hoe don't want to suck the tentacle. Space hoe, get what? Space hoe go crazy. Off the muscle. Off the muscle. Like, come on, man. Why would I fuck with the earth? And look, I came down here to fuck with the earth. But it's on her.
Where you from, man? Where you from, man?
Oh, but it's also squad. I'm dealing with an earth hoe. This hoe don't want to suck the tentacle. Space hoe, get what? Space hoe go
eat grass for 20.
So I just thought that was funny as hell. Shout out to everybody in the building. I thought that was funny. I seen the Atlanta space nigga, and then now all of a sudden black aliens and shit. I'm like, oh, I don't put two and two together. They gonna be in Atlanta with it. Yeah. They gonna be in Atlanta.
Happen. And Dr. Stephen Greer is being very elusive about that. Dr. Stephen Greer, also is kind of being reasonable here, I have to admit, right? And he makes a good point that, if these ships were coming, they're interdimensional. I mean, they'd be here, like, they're not traveling slower than the speed of light, like they'd be traveling way faster than this. So that's an interesting point, which I agree with, to be honest with you. But it is very interesting that he's sort of tempting him, right? The news reporter to Dr. Stephen Greer. Greer's not really biting. But like I said, this reporter does do a good job of confronting him here in the second half of the interview, especially at the end, about, hey, what happened to the disclosure promises, right? And don't forget, we've got the Dr. Avi Loeb interview that he did with Finnerty as well coming up, because they did talk, and that is a fascinating one. So stay with us. But here's the rest of the Dr. Stephen Greer interview on Newsmax.
Okay, so explain this. This Atlas comet is what they're calling it. It's officially now the fastest interstellar object ever recorded. If this is not a comet, what else could it be that can go that fast and then have the ability to accelerate?
Well, I mean, whether that data is correct, I don't know. And what I'm saying is that an actual interstellar vehicle is going to go beyond the speed of light transdimensionally, across dimensions. And we know how those operate. We've retrieved and reverse engineered more than 1,000 of them over the last 80 years. This is a fact that you can see in our intelligence archive, and it's in the materials that I've provided to the president. So I don't think it really comports with a high-tech extraterrestrial civilization. Okay. Now, could it be some stray extraterrestrial detritus that's been out there for 1 million years? Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say? What is that? It's a whatcherus?
Like a detritus, like just garbage out in space of an extraterrestrial origin that has been out there for thousands or millions of years. It's possible. Because, you know, there's obviously been life in the universe since long before humans have been here.
Okay. Here's the interesting thing. October 29th, this thing makes its kind of slingshot around the sun. Scientists say that it will, you know, break up, or it will somehow manage to get around, and we'll be able to see it again on the other side.
Right.
So we could know a lot more about this within like the next 90 days. Is
There we
that possible?
should. I think, yeah, if they do the correct imaging, they should be able to get more data on it.
Okay.
Sure.
Just a quick one. Where are you with the great disclosure that we heard so much about at the beginning of the year?
We're still working on it. The big advances have been with the law enforcement and FBI teams that have concluded that these are criminal operations, and they've concluded that it's very much time to start looking hard at some of the illegal operations that have gone on both in government and in corporate contractors for the government, and that is progressing very, very quickly, actually. So I can't go into a lot of details on that, but it is great progress there. I think where things are stalled, quite frankly, is in the Congress and at the White House. The White House is going to have to eventually authorize some special operations against these illegally run unconstitutional programs.
Okay.
So I think that's the bigger problem.
Dr. Greer, as always, a pleasure. Good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you, my friend.
Hope to have you back soon. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll see you. Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
All right. So now let's jump to this interview that Finnerty did keep his word. He did interview Dr. Avi Loeb the very next day, like he promised Dr. Stephen Greer. And this is where Dr. Avi Loeb drops that he thinks it's 40%, likely that this is a designed trajectory, right? Designed alien craft. So let's jump in because he says a lot more. Here's the first part.
An update to a story that we brought you last night. And look, some people just don't find this stuff interesting or realistic, and that's fair, but we do, because at some point, this stuff could matter in a very serious way. There is a rock in outer space that just passed Saturn, twice the size of the asteroid that killed the dinosaurs, and it's heading toward Earth right now. Some scientists claim it's a comet, but one Harvard professor and physicist thinks otherwise. In fact, he says it could be an alien technology from another planet. Joining us now for more, Harvard professor Avi Loeb. Professor, good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
What is it about this comet that is not normal to you?
Well, if it's a rock, it's too big to be delivered to our neighborhood once per decade. It should arrive, a rock of 20 kilometers in diameter should arrive once per 10,000 years or so. And moreover, there is no cometary tail behind it. There is a little bit of fuzz ahead of it, some glow that could be just dirt on its surface that was evaporated by the sunlight. And it has a very fine-tuned trajectory that lies in the plane of the planets around the sun. The chance of that happening is 1 in 500. Also, the chance of it coming so close to several planets like Mars, Venus, and Jupiter is extremely small, 1 in 20,000. And moreover, when it comes closest to the sun, we will not be able to observe it. The Earth is on the opposite side. And I'm just saying, we have to monitor it. I give it a 40% chance of having a designed trajectory, something that was planned by some intelligence out there. And now in the next decade, we'll find more objects coming from interstellar space, and we need to make sure that none of them poses a threat to Earth.
And you give this a 40% chance that this is somehow an alien technology, 40%?
Yes, because there are all these anomalies about it, very unlikely to be a random situation. I also suggested using the Juno spacecraft currently in orbit around Jupiter to probe it, because it will come close to Jupiter in March 2026. And instead of getting rid of Juno, the plan was to put it into Jupiter in September this year. Instead of that, I suggest extending the mission by another 6 months and bringing it close to the path of 3I Atlas, this new object. And in fact, Congresswoman Ana Paulina Luna spoke with me on the phone about 10 days ago and sent a letter to NASA encouraging them to do that.
Okay, that was my next question. I'm wondering if anyone from a three-letter government agency or anyone in Congress or the executive branch has reached out to you. Has anyone asked you to stop giving interviews?
All right, so stay with me. There's still a little bit more left here. And look, it's just very interesting. And I appreciate Dr. Avi Loeb's enthusiasm about this and sort of being a voice on this particular angle of it. Because plenty of people are going to say it's comets. Great, let them. We do need some people saying it could be something else. Let's take a look at it. Let's take a closer look. Like he is suggesting. I don't see what's wrong with that. And I don't see what's wrong with trying to get more information and making these sort of claims. I really don't. I really just don't see the issue. And, you know, by October 29th, we will hear more about it, about this. And maybe Dr. Avi Loeb can convince NASA and members of Congress to take a closer look at this particular object.
I'm wondering if anyone from a three-letter government agency or anyone in Congress or the executive branch has reached out to you. Has anyone asked you to stop giving interviews?
No,
Not yet.
nobody. I mean, this is a scientific matter as to the nature of this object. And a lot of people are curious about it. I find it puzzling. I define the scale where 0 represents a natural object and 10 represents technological object, and at the moment we just don't have enough data to decide. But within a month or two, we should have enough data to clearly tell whether it shows the signatures of a comet or something else.
You are a man of science, Professor, and you say this could be an alien life form. Are you saying without a doubt that alien life does exist? And why do you think so, if yes?
Well, out of modesty, I don't think that we are necessarily the pinnacle of creation. I think if you look at what happens around the globe, you know, that there is room for improvement. And there are lots of Earth-Sun analogs in our cosmic street. There are billions of them. And imagining that we are the only ones is just unreasonable. And the best way to find out is to search, not to have an opinion.
Yeah.
You know, we're talking about a blind date of interstellar proportions. And in a blind date, you better watch and observe before
you definitely need to
opinion.
watch on a blind date. But I'll tell you what, if this is a blind date, we better be paying attention. Are these things hostile? Have you calculated that? 40% chance this is alien. What percentage are they hostile? Because there's 3 doors. They're hostile, they're not hostile, or this is just a comet.
Exactly. We don't have any information on if it is technological, whether it's hostile or friendly. I suggested beaming a friendly message to it and saying, hello, welcome to our cosmic neighborhood, and we seek peace. That would be my message.
How do we do that? Mathematically, I guess? Can't just throw it out there in English.
Well, the language is an issue, but we can definitely beam a radio signal to it.
Welcome.
And the question is maybe a Morse code or something.
Yeah, Morse code. Okay. Well, thank you very much, Professor. I'd love to have you back. I hope the audience would love to have you back. I enjoyed this, and I think this is so darn fascinating. Avi Loeb, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right. So look, I do admit that 40% is really high as far as like, is this an alien object? But what do I know? I'm not a Harvard astrophysicist like Dr. Avi Loeb. You know what I mean? I can't really armchair this. It's like an expert saying something. I think other experts, you know, can weigh in. But like I said, let them say this. What's wrong with that? I've interviewed Dr. Avi Loeb a couple times on Vetted, right? He's a really nice guy. And I just like that he thinks like this. He's very curious. Why not? He's not saying it is XYZ. He's saying it could be. And let's take a closer look. And what is wrong with that? I think that's totally, totally reasonable. So I hope that happens. And it was interesting about Greer, you know, being confronted with sort of these deadlines, right, that come up. Disclosures coming, you know, we'll send you this information, got this, got that, got these things going, you know. That's why you shouldn't, I just wouldn't say anything. Just work on it and release it, you know, when it comes out. I would stop promising disclosure. I think that's an empty promise that can never be fulfilled.
Yeah, I don't think that they should promise disclosure, but I believe that we're getting closer. and closer to it. I want to get into this next segment of video audio, and this is from an ex-Pentagon official. I consider him a pretty reliable source when it comes to a lot of this classified information, debrief information, and information that was granted throughout SCIFs, Pentagon and government SCIFs, to be released and even talked about. So if y'all ready to get into the next segment, thumb up the video, support the channel, and let's go.
For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
We simply don't know. We don't know.
We also don't know what their intentions are and why
Before
they
we
might
get
be
started,
here.
though,
That's
I
right.
do
Why
need
they
y'all
might
to
be
hit that
visiting
like
here.
button.
That's right.
Hold
Do you
on,
have
we ain't gonna get
any
started.
theory?
Right? Yeah, let's get these likes up, man. Drop a fire emoji. Y'all still in the building. We got a little bit over 300 people listening in on YouTube. I think we have a few listening in on
What their intentions are and why
Twitter.
they might be here.
That's right.
Why they might be visiting here.
That's right.
Do you have any theories as to what their intentions might be?
Brother, there's a whole range of theories. I mean, it could be simply as like when we're on the African Serengeti and we see the wildebeest and we're in a helicopter and, you know, not to make fun of it, but you sit there and say, oh, that one, we dart it. Boom. What do? We land the helicopter, we come out, we draw blood, we do tests. We want to see its diet and its migratory patterns, its health. And then what happens? The wildebeest wakes up, kind of groggy, disoriented, stumbles over to the watering hole. And he's like, hey, Bill, you're not going to believe this, man. This thing came out of the sky. All some weird stuff happened. I was being touched. I woke up and now my butt hurts, right? It could be something as simple as that.
Do you believe any of those reports? Because people do say that they were abducted by aliens.
Well, this is my point, right? So that's one option. The other option could be simply to monitor us. It could be that we are getting very close to being able to replicate what they can do. And if that's the case, you know, maybe technologically we're only 100, 200 years behind. And if that's the case, now all of a sudden we're going to be new neighbors, right? And that could be problematic because our species is very violent. We do a lot of bad things to each other. Are we really ready to go out and meet our potential friends from out of town? I don't know. I mean, we're pretty horrible to each other. So maybe not. Certainly if I was them and I knew we were getting close, I would probably be pretty interested in what we're doing too. As far as the abductions, you know, I don't know what to tell you because I've never been abducted. I've had some people that swear by it. But, you know, you can't have a conversation about abduction and then say, oh, they're here for peaceful reasons. It doesn't work that way.
Do you believe them, the people that swear by it?
I believe that they are being truthful, that that experience they feel is real. I don't think they're lying. But the question is, you know,
Did it happen is the question.
Yeah, I can't say because I wasn't there. But I can tell you that we definitely have people that have had experiences where they are now on U.S. government full medical disability in writing because they got too close to a UAP. Now, was it deliberate that they got injured or was it just a byproduct of the technology? They got too close to it.
What does that mean they got too close to it? And you mentioned that there's some people that are on US disability allowance, so they're being paid by the US government.
In writing because they had a UAP, they were involved in a UAP encounter.
And what does that mean, UAP encounter in that definition?
Well, so let's look at it this way. Now, here's a better one. You go to the airport, right? And I'm going to hop on a 737 and go fly to Fort Lauderdale. There's no real threat there. I'm getting on a plane. It's safe. Sit on the seat, have a cocktail, you know, watch a movie, read a magazine. Now, if I were to walk out onto the tarmac, onto the runway, where that same airplane is, and that airplane decides to spool up its jet engine, chances are I'm going to be injured. I'm going to get burned. I'm going to lose my hearing and possibly a lot worse, right? There are individuals, U.S. government servicemen and women, and there's also intelligence officials who have been injured by getting too close to a UAP, whether incidentally or it was deliberate or not. The question is, was that injury sustained because it was deliberate, or was that injury sustained because it was just a matter of being too close to the technology? For example, it's like putting your head near a microwave oven when it's on. It's probably not very good for you, right?
And have those people spoken out?
Absolutely.
What's like a good example?
There's an individual right now named John Burroughs who had his medical files classified, and the U.S. government, thankfully, because of late Senator John McCain from Arizona, forced the Air Force to release his files. And as a result, he was able to get full medical disability because of an incident that involved him and another individual in the UK, known as the Rendlesham Forest incident or Bentwaters incident, where there was a joint US and UK base, and there was a UFO incident where this thing had landed in the forest, and they went out to go see this thing, and they were injured.
And they were in the military at the time?
Yeah, Air Force Special Police or police officers.
They were injured.
They were injured, and that's not all. There's a lot of people that have been injured right now that are under medical care by government doctors. That is a fact.
When they give their account of what happened, what do they say?
It depends who you ask. I mean, there's some consistency within some of the stories, and then there's some divergence. You know, it's like somebody who says they've been in a car accident, depending what kind of car you're in, and was it a multiple car pileup, and where were you sitting in the car, you're going to have a slightly different experience. So it's not one shoe fits all.
You talk about how there's been a lot of UAP sightings at nuclear technology facilities.
Yes, that is why this is a national security issue, because they seem to be able to disable our nuclear capabilities. Now, people say, "Oh, well, that's like, taking matches out of a kid's hands," and it's, well, maybe, but in Russia, there's information to suggest they actually turned them on. So, we have to be really careful with that. Our nuclear triad capability is really the crown jewels of the U.S. government. And so if a country or an adversary has the ability to interfere with a nuclear response, that's significant.
There's evidence to suggest that they turned on the nuclear facilities in Russia.
Yes.
What is that evidence?
Well,
when was that?
There's evidence that there's actually a KGB report that suggested that one of their places was actually turned on. In fact, there's a lot. Let me be careful what I say here. So after the Berlin Wall fell, there was this brief honeymoon period between the Soviet Union and the U.S., where ex-KGB officers were sharing information with us and our government. I think that's about all I could probably say about that. But there was some very interesting information that we were able to see.
I was reading about this really interesting incident called the Colares incident.
Colares in Brazil.
I can't pronounce that. So
you did good. Colares.
Colares, which was in 1977 to 1978. And it sounded like a UAP incident that was witnessed by hundreds, thousands of people.
It was investigated officially by the Brazilian military under the command and control of a 4-star general named General Uchoa. And he has explained before he passed away that even his own military personnel had been attacked
by
UAP.
And what did they see? What did they document?
Oh my goodness, a whole litany of things. A lot of the locals recall being terrified by these things being pursued by them, almost being like a laser blast, if you can imagine that, or directed energy type injury. Very provocative. Some of the military personnel were injured as well. A lot of medical doctors came in afterwards to look at the locals and the military personnel, validating the presumption that there was some sort of directed energy type damage, tissue damage to some of these people. And of course, then the fear kind of escalated into some of the other, local lore, some other things. But it was very well established by the Brazilian military, who also witnessed these encounters. So it's not like just some people in a remote village. These were Brazilian military officers who also vouched for it. And I've spoken to dozens and dozens of military officers all throughout Latin America and Chile and Peru and Uruguay. And, they all reporting, in some cases, some very, very similar encounters, not necessarily with Colares, but incident amongst themselves. People who don't even know each other, separated by different countries, are telling me their same encounter and the same morphology of craft, and how they would, in some cases, even try to engage in a dogfight and use cannons, conventional guns, to no avail, of course. And there's reports of that in Tehran incident, I believe it was 1978, the Tehran incident with an F-14 Tomcat, where the pilot, his aircraft was disabled every time he tried to engage the target. And then, I superimposed that with here in Huntsville, Alabama, we have some helicopters that we were testing, and something like 8 out of the 8 test pilots all reported UAP coming around their helicopters while they were testing them. And one even reported that he believed his helicopter was disabled, and he went into an emergency situation. I think it was an emergency auto rotation situation. And as soon as the UAP left, he was able to regain control of his helicopter.
Should we be worried about this?
No, I don't think worried. I think we should be concerned, because look, from a governmental perspective, to determine this, and this is why I always say this is a national security issue, but not a national security threat. And there's a reason why. So
now I want him to break down the difference between UAPs and UFOs. I want to get into that segment right quick. Let's go.
I didn't. I was never interested even in science fiction as a kid.
Did you believe they were? If I'd asked you that, if I come up to you and said, "Are UFOs real?" And I say UFOs because that's the sort of social term, but what would you have said?
Probably not. I mean, I would have said literally probably not. I wouldn't say for sure not because I didn't know.
What about now?
Oh, yeah, kidding me? I mean, yeah, these are real. I mean, don't take my word for it. Our government's already said it. I mean, you have a former director of national intelligence telling the world, yeah, these things are real, whatever they are. You have a former director of C.I.A. You have a former president of the United States. And we've known for a long time they're real. And by the way, it's not just our country. There's other countries that are very forthcoming. There's countries in South America that have been dealing with this for a long time. Japan just entered into a bilateral information sharing agreement with our country for the express purposes of sharing UAP information and data. China's interested. Russia's interested in this. Several European countries have a fairly robust capability and have a lot of information on this.
Was there a moment when your belief changed? Was there a moment that you can remember where you thought, you know what I thought about UAPs was wrong?
Sure. And what I often tell people, there's two types of individuals, the way that we process this information. In one category, you have people that will sit there and say, I had this epiphany, this revelatory moment where all of a sudden it's like, oh my God, they're real, right? Are you kidding me? And then there's another group of people, which I probably fall into that second category, the latter category, which is more of a slow progression and realization of what we're dealing with is not a conventional technology. It's not our technology. It's something else. At some point, the preponderance of evidence is so overwhelming. Let me give you an example. I spent my life in investigations, terrorists, spies, whatever. And I've always been what I consider just the facts ma'am kind of guy, very, very data driven. I don't really care about.
Now listen, I want y'all to pay attention to this next part. I need y'all to pay attention to this next part. All right. Shout out to everybody that's in the building, man. It's your brother, Big Aboriginal Power. If you're new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe. All right. If you're listening in on Twitter X, make sure y'all give me a quick retweet with the hashtag Aboriginal Power, hashtag Black Aliens.
In a court of law, and I was presenting this as evidence, we are well beyond reasonable doubt. The jury would have no choice but to convict because the evidence is the same collection sensor suite that we use to prosecute and win a war, and forgive the vernacular, but literally drop warheads on foreheads, is the same information, the same systems we're using to collect the data on the anomalous vehicles we're seeing. And so, I know it's a very uncomfortable conversation to have. I'm not saying it's not. What I'm saying is that we have to deal with this. And it's not me just telling you that. This is our government. We know it. We have laws now on the books because this topic is now so serious. We have whistleblowers ready to come out and testify before the American people because this is so serious. We have set up an organization, specifically its sole purpose is to investigate UAP because this topic is so serious. So this is not a flight of fancy here. We're investing millions of dollars, taxpayer dollars, to try to figure this out. And interestingly enough, I think when the investigative body first was created, there was this hope that in the first report they said, there's 143 incidents that remain unidentified, but we're going to whittle them away. What happened the next time they had a report? There was now 300. And what happened after that? Now 800. The number's going up, not down. They remain unresolved. And so, we've got to have this uncomfortable conversation with ourselves.
You eventually left.
I did.
That project, but also more broadly, you resigned from working with the Pentagon in the role that you were working with them. Why did you resign?
I resigned because that's what you do when you can't fix a problem internally. My concern was that we were spending time and money on an issue that leadership didn't want to know about. That leadership didn't want to inform the boss, the then Secretary of Defense, General Jim Mattis, the details about what was going on. And there's reasons for that, and we can certainly get into that if you want. I understand them. I don't necessarily agree with them, but I understand them. But at least here in our country, when you can't fix a problem, you don't stay and make it worse. You leave, you resign. And then if you still want to do something, you do it from outside, but you don't create problems inside. And it's not that uncommon, is it? Because if you look just a year later after I left, Secretary of Defense himself resigned, right? So I resigned in protest, but not out of disloyalty. I resigned because of my loyalty to this country and to this government. And
what is that protest? Sorry, just to be clear.
The protest is that we weren't able to get the information and the help we needed with this issue up to the right level of people. They were happy with us doing it, but they said, don't tell the boss. Well, wait a minute. The boss needs to know. We're having almost a mid-air collision with our fighter pilots. We have captains and admirals of Navy ships asking us, what do we do about these things? Like, there's an email that said, hey, Lou, we can't keep these guys below deck forever. What do you want me to do? They're all over the ship. So a decision has to be made. What are we going to do about it? And that decision has to be made by the top guy, the Secretary of Defense. And for whatever reason, the upper echelons of leadership didn't want to tell the boss. And we weren't getting it on guidance on what to do about it. Now, keep in mind, these things are coming over our sensitive military installations as well. And there's potential for these things to be interfering with our nuclear equities. That's a big deal. And nobody wants to have the conversation. Now, wait a minute. Let's put this on the backdrop of other national security issues, right? Like terrorism. If you go to any airport in the United States today or any train station, you always hear over the announcements, if you see something suspicious, say something, report it. Well, that wasn't the case with these things. In fact, people were told not to report. Yes, if you saw a UFO and you saw it over a sensitive military installation, don't report it because they'll think you're crazy. And that is dangerous. That is a dangerous mindset, because if these things had a Russian star on the tail or a North Korean tail number, this would be huge. But because these things didn't have a tail at all and didn't have any obvious signs of propulsion or whatnot, it was crickets. People would know about it. It was a worst kept secret. People were like, yeah, we see them all the time, but we don't want to report it. Well, you have to report it. Well, there's no reporting mechanism. Okay, well, let's create one. Well, we can't create one because we need permission to do it. And this person needs to be briefed up. Meanwhile, you're being told, no, you can't.
Why wouldn't they want to report this information? Why wouldn't they want the public to know? Why wouldn't they want the boss to know?
Well, I think it's a stigma and taboo. Well, there's several reasons, but I think superficially stigma and taboo. No one wants to be known as that UFO guy or gal. I get it, especially if you're a pilot, because historically you'd be taken off flight status. You'd put behind a desk and you'd fly a desk the rest of your career because people think you're mentally unstable. Could affect your security clearance. I mean, there's all sorts of things that can happen. And so people were being reinforced not to report this information. Even civilian pilots today, if you talk to them, they'll tell you quietly, yeah, we see things in the sky, but we're not going to report anything because I need a job.
What did you see?
Oh my, what day? I mean, videos, reports, photographs. I mean, there's videos that are so compelling in high definition that there's no question what you're seeing. It's not our technology. It's not our technology. And the capabilities are beyond anything we can do. I mean, I'm happy to explain some of those capabilities if you like, but when you look at this from a rational perspective, you only come to one outcome. But only one can be. The other one is so remotely possible that the mental gymnastics to get to that, and we can go into that in a minute, it's absurd. And so let's go into a little bit what makes these things unique. Because planes fly and UAP in the air, so that doesn't make them unique, and things go fast and whatnot. So you have to, in intelligence, if you want to filter out data and only focus on certain data, you have to create parameters. So we realized early on in the government that these things had 5 parameters, 5 observables that made them stand out away from everything else. And so the first one was instantaneous acceleration. So what is acceleration? It is the change of velocity, right? It is the ability to change your velocity very quickly. And as a result, as a consequence, there are inertial forces that are experienced. So for us human beings, we express those inertial forces as G forces. So the force of gravity is pulling on us equally at 9.8 meters per second. And that's experienced as 1G. A human being can withstand up to 9 Gs for a very short period of time before you start having medical consequences, right? You have things like blackouts and redouts and ultimately death. To compare that to, let's say, standard technology, one of our most highly maneuverable aircraft, manned maneuverable aircraft, let me emphasize manned, is an older aircraft. It's called the General Dynamics F-16, built by General Dynamics. It's the F-16. And that, at an unclassified level, can pull about 17 Gs before you start having structural failure, meaning wings snap off, right? The plane begins to disintegrate while you're flying it. What we are seeing are objects that are performing in excesses of 2,000 and 3,000 G-forces, okay? Well beyond the healthy limitations of anything biological to withstand, and certainly from a material science perspective, more than we have. There's an advanced technology here. The second observable is hypersonic velocity. So what is hypersonic? Hypersonics are those speeds in excess of Mach 5 or above. What's a Mach? It's the speed of sound, roughly 760 some miles an hour at sea level. So really fast. Now, do we have technology that can do hypersonic? Sure we do. Absolutely. We have one of the best examples is a Lockheed YF-12A SR-71, otherwise known as a Blackbird. It can get to about Mach 5, which is really fast. But at that speed, if the SR-71 wants to take a right-hand turn, it takes roughly half the state of Ohio to execute that maneuver. We are seeing things not doing Mach 5. We are seeing things doing in excess of 10,000, 13,000 miles an hour and executing immediate right-hand turns and even 180s, right? So that is another observable that is significantly above and beyond anything we have. Another observable, it's a bit of an oxymoron, but it's called low observability. Meaning you'll hear from the pilots, Lou, I was there, I saw it, but I can't describe it. It didn't have wings, didn't have a rudder, a tail, anything, no rivets, nothing. And then also on the radar, you will get these nonsensical returns. These returns like there's some sort of active jamming or spoofing going on within the radar system. So low observability. Now, do we have low observable vehicles? Sure. For example, the B-2 bomber and the Valkyrie, these are stealth vehicles. Well, this is a little more than that because it's actually also, with the human eye, very hard to discern. The fourth observable is something called transmedium or multi-medium travel. So that means the ability to operate in multiple domains, or more specifically, multiple environments. Now, once again, do we have multi-domain vehicles? Absolutely. A seaplane is a perfect example of a multi-medium vehicle. It can fly and it can float. But let's face it, a seaplane is neither a really good airplane or a good boat. And why? Because there are design compromises that have to be made in performance and design in order for it to operate in multiple domains. And that's true with just about every technology we have. The more domains we want something to operate in, the more sacrifices we have to make. That's why a submarine looks like a submarine, because it's designed to be underwater, and a plane looks like a plane, and a rocket looks like a rocket. These things can operate in multiple different domains. They can operate in air, underwater, and possibly even space, but you don't have that performance and design sacrifice that we have to do with our technology.
So is it like when you get this job, do you get to see like a folder on a computer? Right? Like, I'm trying to understand what access you're given to these things.
I mean, you're seeing the investigations that were done previously by other members of UAP. You're seeing video, you're seeing photographs, you're seeing the historical reports.
And are these classified?
Oh, absolutely, very.
Okay, so the general public can't see these kinds of things?
No.
And they haven't been published?
Correct. They have not been made publicly available. They are highly classified.
Okay, so it's videos, it's photos, it's various accounts, it's...
Correct.
You know, a lot of people talk about Area 51 when they talk about UFOs and such.
Mm-hmm.
I think one of the sort of rumors is that at Area 51, they've found and retained UFO material, spacecraft, etc., that they've studied to understand the technology so that they can introduce it to the US military. Is there any truth in that?
You know, the US government invests a lot of money in research. You have a lot of test facilities where we want to be able to test things outside the prying eyes of our enemies. And so we create these test ranges for that purpose. We do all sorts of things at those test ranges. You know, I cannot comment on what Area 51 might or might not have. I would not be authorized to talk about that. All I can say is what is in the public domain, which people already know, that it's a sensitive test facility where we experiment with things.
Because there was a gentleman, I think, from that worked near Area 51 that's talked a little bit about this publicly, Bob Lazar.
Mm-hmm.
I actually didn't know anything about Bob Lazar until about 2 hours ago. So what exactly is it that Bob Lazar is claiming?
Well, to be fair, you'd probably have to ask Bob. I don't know Mr. Lazar. I've never met him. I've never spoken to him. His claims were that he worked at a particular facility and he had access to and privy to one of the recovered vehicles, crash retrievals, that was allegedly performed by the United States and acquired and brought there. That is what is in the public domain. I cannot and will not comment on Bob Lazar because I don't know him.
So when you say you can't comment on something, and as it relates to something that's classified, have you had to go through some process? There's a book in front of me called Imminent, which is the book you've written. It says Inside the Pentagon's Hunt for UFOs. What is the process when you're writing books like this to get information cleared so that you can share it?
It's like birthing an elephant.
Right.
I can only imagine if I was ever a woman and had to give birth.
Because they probably don't want you talking about these things.
There's a lot of people that don't want us talking about this. But there's also a lot that do. So you go through a process. It's called DOPSR. In the U.S. government, we love our acronyms. It stands for Department of Defense, Office of Pre-Publication and Security Review. As a former defense official, if I want to write anything, it has to go through a review process to make sure it's not classified and I can talk about it. That book went through an exhaustive, almost 1 year process through the government before they allowed me to publish it. And even then, they redacted portions of it. If you look in there, you will see grayed out portions because I wanted Americans to see what some people don't need to see. And so those redactions are there by the government. And it is a very exhaustive process, but it's important because that's what keeps us legal. That's what keeps people like me not going to jail because I go through the proper procedures. I'm not a leaker. I have never leaked classified information. I will never discuss classified information. And unauthorized disclosure is something that should be avoided at all times. Like I said, I'm a patriot. I'm loyal to my country. I'm not disloyal. So there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. So if you want to write a book and you want to talk about things you're not sure you can talk about, you go through this DOPSR process. And that's exactly what I did. And that's how that book was able to be published. Otherwise, right now, I'd probably be in jail.
Is there a single most compelling piece of evidence that you were witness to as it relates to your belief in UFOs and UAPs?
They were all significant. There wasn't one that said, "Oh, that's it," because they were all compelling in their own way. Whether you can go back to the USS Nimitz incident in 2004 or the Roosevelt incidents in 2014 and 2015, there was so much data. Every time you think you had one that was great, another would come that was even better. So,
I mean, you've put one on the front cover of this book, though, right?
Yeah.
What is this incident on the front cover of your book?
That is known as the gimbal incident. That is a video that was taken by an F-18, and you.
Shout out to everybody in the building. We're about to get into the next segment of the video, man. I know y'all want to see some more. Let's get into the next clips. My bad, you guys, but y'all know how we coming, man. Drop those fire emojis if y'all can hear me right now, loud and clear. And if so, let's go.
Keys on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track, on the track. For the stats, I be beating the odds. In the blood, it be making me calm. Ride the turbines just like I'm Saddam. I'ma blow it just like I'm a bomb. I'ma leave it.
What's up, batters? Patrick here with Vetted. This video is going viral right now.
Tulsi Gabbard this week talked about the fact that aliens could be real and she might want to declassify a few things. Now, all I can tell you is what I know, Duffy. We know the drones are not from New Jersey because they've been using their blinkers. Now what?
Well, first off, Jimmy, saw the drones. The drones are real, right? I don't think we had the accoutrements in position to actually see what that was. But I but say what? I just want to be really clear. I haven't had the alien briefing yet, but I've asked for it.
Okay.
So I can't comment on it. And I can't wait to come back and talk about the highly classified information on your show. I'm gonna get in this briefing. And by the way, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. But actually, you know what I do? I mean, I think we're in a space right now in America that we want transparency. I mean, people do, you know, and there's decisions that have to be made. But as much as if feasibly possible, we want to share as much information with the American people.
With over 2.1 million views on X, I thought we should cover this because this is the Secretary of Transportation, Sean Duffy, saying this. And he most recently was talking about building a nuclear reactor on the moon.
The moon, you mentioned the moon. We want to put a nuclear reactor on the moon because at the south pole of the moon, I don't think a lot of people understand this, there's ice. Ice means water, which means we can inhabit the southern pole of the moon.
So that's kind of what he was in the news about recently. But then now he made these comments. So let's explore this because I've got a longer clip to help us explain this a little bit better than what he just said right there. Because you hear, you know, the alien briefing. What? Can you just ask for that? Is that just a thing? Right. So let's explore that a little bit more. We're going to dive deep into also some comments that Donald Trump has made in the past. You'll see what I mean. So first, let's take a look at a couple responses from Tim Burchett and James Fox responding to Sean Duffy's comments. Like, yeah, let's go. What are we waiting for? Right. Like, let's get this going. Now, let's take a listen to the longer clip that I found from this Fox radio broadcast, but it also gets put out as a podcast. And it came out over this past weekend, so almost a week ago. So we're already coming up on the weekend here. And it took a minute for it to kind of, you know, get out, but, you know, now it's out. But here's a little bit longer clip so you can see how they got to this and what he says after it as well. So take a listen.
Okay, Tulsi Gabbard this week talked about the fact that aliens could be real and she might want to declassify a few things. Now, all I can tell you is what I know, Duffy. We know the drones are not from New Jersey because they've been using their blinkers. Now what?
Well, first off, Jimmy, saw the drones. The drones were real, right? I don't think we had the accoutrements in position to actually see what that was. But I but say what? I just want to be really clear. I haven't had the alien briefing yet, but I've asked for it.
Okay.
So I can't comment on it. And I can't wait to come back and talk about the highly classified information on your show. I'm getting this briefing. And by the way, I'm kidding. I'm not going to do that. But actually, you know what I do? I mean, I think we're in a space right now in America that we want transparency. I mean, people do, you know, and there's decisions that have to be made, but as much as if feasibly possible, we want to share as much information with the American people.
Like
and
that.
I think transparency, and that's what President Trump truly has done throughout the course of the presidency. And what I love about him, Jimmy, is, I mean, sometimes people think that they have to think outside the box.
Yeah.
And Donald Trump doesn't have a box to think outside of. He thinks of things and ideas, and he wants to be transparent, and he's driving an agenda with a team around him, which I couldn't be more proud to be part of, that buys into the philosophy, buys into the president's vision. And I think truly this is going to be one of the most transformative 4 years in any 4 years of a president.
So clearly there's a couple things here we need to discuss. As always getting a little bit more context to some of these viral clips that go around. And you know, all good. I understand people don't have much time, so you just want to see the bread and butter. But if you want to get a little bit into it more, a little more context, right? Which is just all I'm providing here. So two things. One, they start the whole conversation with Tulsi Gabbard and what she had said about UFOs. So let's take a look at that so we can kind of understand where this all originated from. And then we're going to take a look at some comments from Donald Trump, considering what Sean Duffy said about President Trump and transparency. We'll get into that. So, but first, here's that clip from Tulsi Gabbard from not too long ago on Pod Force One talking about UFOs.
UFOs. There's been a lot of... My husband is in the corner, for the record, pumping his fist right now that you're asking this question. So, I mean, is there anything... We've had some declassification of some very strange videos that look like they are, you know, unidentified flying objects. Is there anything in the files that you think you could find or you have found?
Nothing that I'm prepared to talk about today. We are I'm just going to say this. We're continuing to look for the truth and share that truth with the American people.
The truth is out there.
Yes, it is.
So do you believe that there could be aliens?
I honestly, like, my personal belief, I have my own views and opinions.
Right.
In this role, I got to be careful with what I share.
Very interesting.
and I'm laughing. My husband's laughing in the corner because we have these same conversations, and obviously I don't share any classified information. Outside of my building with those who have clearances, but this is fun that he's here to watch this right now.
All right, so you can see how that sparked a lot of conversation online, and Sean Duffy is being asked because of that, right? And that's his response about the sort of alien briefing, right? And I think he kind of said it in jest, but I think he also...
Let's get into some more conversation. I want to get into this debriefing necessarily that Donald Trump actually put out. So let's get into it.
In December, he put out this tweet right here, and people were finally excited. He had commented on it, and he's saying, show us, right? Tell us what's going on, or shoot them down. Come on, what's going on? And then afterwards, he says this.
The government knows what is happening. Look, our military knows where they took off from. If it's a garage, they can go right into that garage. They know where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Will you
Want to
shoot
know
them
the
down?
truth. They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe.
So what Trump is alluding to in this segment right here, which I'm going to run it back, Trump is alluding to that the drones and other things that was happening in 2024 are not drones. In fact, these are aliens, and they have full disclosure that they are extraterrestrial, interdimensional beings, and he wants them to disclose this information.
Where it came from and where it went. And for some reason, they don't want to comment. And I think they'd be better off saying what it is. Our military knows, and our president knows. And for some reason, they want to keep people in suspense. I can't imagine it's the enemy, because if it was the enemy, they'd blast it out. Even if they were late, they'd blast it. Something strange is going on. For some reason, they don't want to tell the people, and they should, because the people are really, I mean, they happen to be over Bedminster.
Will you
Want to
shoot
know
them
the
down?
truth. They're very close to Bedminster. I think maybe I won't spend the weekend in Bedminster. I've decided to cancel my trip.
Have you received an intelligence briefing on the drones?
I don't want to comment on that.
So that was in December, just a couple days after that initial tweet that he put out, right, back in December 2024.
Right.
And then he puts out this statement after he's in office in January of this year.
But is it anything, these drones, is it anything that people need to be worried
No, I think it's terrible. I would like to find out what it is and tell the people.
And can you commit to some kind of?
In fact, I'd like to do that. Could we find out what that was, Susie? Okay. Yeah, why don't we find out immediately? I mean, I can't imagine it's an enemy, or there would have been, people would have gotten blown up all over. Maybe they were testing things. I don't know why they wouldn't have said what it was. They had a lot of them flying over Bedminster, which is interesting. Right?
And with the events today,
and then most recently, this is what he's saying.
I wanted to ask you about drones. We had the issue in New Jersey before the election where there are all these people thought UFOs or an attack of the killer drones. And I believe you're doing something about.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
I know who. I can't tell you who it was and what it was, but yes. I can't really tell you. I'd love to tell you actually, but it's not a big deal.
It's
but,
not something frightening.
No, but I just, so obviously it's something that I know about, and it's not a problem at all.
It was legal.
Oh yeah, that was legal.
So I don't really know how transparent Donald Trump is being about the drones. Initially, it was, yeah, tell us what's going on. They have no reason not to tell us what's going on. And then he literally says, I can't tell you what's going on. Right. So he just towed the company line like the Biden administration did. Right. So, but Sean Duffy does have.
No, listen, that's a crucial part of this whole conversation. I do want y'all to listen to this last little clip before we roll out. Shout out to everybody that's in the building. Hit that like button, thumb up the video, support the channel. It's your brother, Big Aboriginal Power. We're here to rock the house. You already know. Let's go.
This is in her own backyard, and she joins us now. Rachel, y'all been seeing these. You were saying prayers with your kids, and they look out the window. But that footage was actually captured while I was at the Patriot Awards, and my kids were home, and they saw it, they ran outside, and they captured that video. So it's been more than once you've seen. Oh, multiple times. This is all everyone is talking about. If you live in Morristown, Mendham, Summit, Bedminster, that whole Far Hills, that whole area. That's all you talk about. Go to the neighborhood, apps, where, you put in if you lost your dog or your cat. They're all about drone sightings now. Right. And so I think what you're seeing is, first of all, no answers. Whatever the governor put out was a non-answer. It didn't make me feel any better. And I just think we're in this era. You remember when I had my interview with Donald Trump at Bedminster? I'm like, will you declassify JFK? Will you declassify Epstein? Will you declassify the 9/11? And he was like, yes. I think we're in this era where people want more transparency from government, and they are so tired of the lies being told to them by the government. And I think that's what you're seeing right here. People are outraged. Outrage. 3 weeks, no answer.
And, I don't know what's going on, right? Is there going to be some sort of alien briefing, and then we're going to find out some stuff from.
So President Trump, not long ago, introduced an executive order
to make sure that the cabinet put this issue on the forefront, to make sure that we lean in to our airspace when it relates to drone technology. And the problem we have is that on the consumer drone market, China controls 90% of this market. And the problem with that is we're turning over our skies to one of our main adversaries. Huge problem. And it's going to happen no longer.
So I don't know. Was this just our stuff we were testing?
This is the soil of Florida, not Africa, not Europe, not no damn fantasy. This the mark of Moctezuma. We ain't never been no damn slaves. We was prisoners of war. And y'all still out here claiming that title like it's your birthright. You know where the word slave come from? Slavic, from over there, Slavonia. You from there? Nah, you from right here, from these lands. Moctezuma's blood, the sovereigns of Anahuac. So get it through your head, you royalty, not no damn slave. Of the true sovereigns of these lands. Y'all better get it right. Look at all that. All this land. That's ours. We've been here.
They built this on stolen land, tried to hide the roots, cover the soil with lies. But we still here. They call me a Moor, but I am not from across the Atlantic. I am of this land. Saturiona.
So tell me, where ICE gon' deport you when you from right here, huh? The clouds. Ain't no borders when this whole land your inheritance. So get it through your head, you royalty, not no damn slave. Y'all gon' get it one way or another. We ain't never been no damn slaves. We ain't going nowhere neither. This the mark of Moctezuma, of Anahuac, of the true sovereigns of these lands. Y'all better get it right.
Ain't no borders when this whole land your inheritance. They gon' deport you back to your own soil. Now let that marinate.
We are the unbroken memory, the feared royalty, living sovereigns of Temeri. We hold the keys to this land called America. We built the crystal cities they keep trying to erase. They don't tell you the Moors who civilized Europe came from the West, and some stayed behind. That's why their faces mirror ours. We, the kings, sailed east to civilize them, so they called us the Moors of Europe. But we were always the kings of America. This ain't just some coat of arms, listen. This is a stolen family tree from Temeri. They didn't invent royalty, they inherited ours. They parade stolen emblems. America's family tree is the blueprint they copied and claimed. We were the kings who were always here. They want you looking at Africa so you don't look right here, at your own land. So-called Indians were Moors. That's why the Creek Confederacy was so powerful. They were the original Moorish military, fighting to keep all these other groups out. They create these divisions, Moor versus indigenous, to keep us from consolidating. Don't let them cast stones and make you argue. We were already here. Think this history is new? Go look up the kings of Spain. Then go look up the kings of America. The same names, the same titles. It's all there. Just believe it. Go and look at the flags of old Europe. Then look at the banners of the Creek Confederacy. You'll see the same people, the same kings, just a different continent. They say it was us against them. But the Moorish War was us against us. We were fighting these tribes trying to create new people.
Moors are Aboriginals. Come on, it's a trick. The real enemy wants you to fight over semantics so we don't look at the historical documents. We got the same mission. Temeri was a monarchy.
They turned you against the idea of imperialism, of monarchy, because the monarchy was here first, and they needed you to forget that our title of nobility is the real power. Don't y'all read the damn treaty, son? They made a whole treaty with the Moors in 1787, government to government. They knew we were the royalty, and they wanted our trade. All the fantasy stories about warring kingdoms, that's not a fairy tale. That's our old world. That's the ancient confederacy and the bloodline. To think the families fighting over the throne in Game of Thrones is just fantasy? That's the real story. Real story of what happened right here. On your land, Temeri, so-called America. Y'all think Tolkien just made up Middle-earth? It's all a metaphor for the real war, and they buried the truth and sold it back to you as fiction. They told our own people that the Moors were the enemy, made brother turn against brother over a lie. We fought each other over stories they planted. Think about that. Listen up. The real Moorish law is about justice, truth, and lifting up our own people. It ain't about tearing each other down.
Quit arguing over semantics. Stop cherry-picking Moorish law if you're not gonna help uplift fallen humanity.
Y'all laughing that we was kings while they got our family crest everywhere. The joke's on you. We are still kings. It's in the DNA. You remember this? Art imitates life. Follow original black God bringing our history back to life. This. Also follow Spin City and Brother Red Pill. They're showing you how to take that fire, that vision, and make it real. Dropping the knowledge you need.
Join the movement. Bring your visions to life. Help us awaken the world. The power is within you. The time is now.